What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor, and today we're going to be speaking about my least favourite of the major US airlines, which is American Airlines. Now, if you've watched the channel before, you know that I'm not just your typical airline hater. I am actually invested in both Delta and Southwest Airlines, and they're the only two that I've ever really gone into any sort of detail in. You know, I've touched off American, I've touched off United, I've touched off Spirit, but I've only ever really spoken about Delta and a little bit of Southwest. So today's video is all about American Airlines and exactly why I haven't bought them and I have no interest in buying them whatsoever. But there will of course be comparisons between the other major US airlines too. American Airlines has the worst debt of any of the US airlines, and they also have the highest break-even load factor. The Boeing CEO himself went ahead and said before that he sees one of the major US airlines going bankrupt. And if I had to put my money on any of them going bankrupt, it would be American Airlines. The first thing we have to speak about today, guys, is the new debt that American just went ahead and took on, because the rates are absolutely horrific. But first, can I please ask you to smash that like button? If we get over 400 likes, I've made an agreement with Warren Buffett himself that he's going to actually donate a new money printer to Jay Powell. So they're going to have two printers, so the market's just going to go up forever. Results not guaranteed, people, but hit the like button anyway. And please drop me a sub if you're new around here. Yesterday we hit 8,500. We are really close to that 10,000 mark. I'd really appreciate it. And drop me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on American Airlines, or also just the airline sector as a whole, because a lot of people do have strong opinions on it. So with that being said, let's get straight into this debt. First things first, okay? American Airlines Group is tapping all corners of the capital markets to raise at least $3.5 billion of cash. The company is marketing a $1.5 billion secured junk bond maturing in 2025, okay? With early pricing discussions for a yield of about 12%. That is absolutely ridiculous. Do you remember who else did bonds at 12%? Carnival Cruise Corp. This in itself shows that the business is not in a good position. If it was, you would absolutely never take on those sort of rates. And it's already the most debt-laden of the largest US airlines. The yield on the bond is more akin to that of riskier CCC debt, currently trading around 11.65%, even though the offerings is expected to have at least 2 ratings in the BB ratings tier, the highest in the junk market, okay? And I have a little picture here, okay? So we can see the CCC, that is junk and it is the highest risk. The BB, again, that is junk and it is high risk. These interest rates are terrible, and it is really concerning. Really quick one, okay? American's debt totals about $34 billion compared with $23 billion at Delta and United. American is also marking on the $500 million 4-year loan at a spread of 9.5 percentage points. Essentially, it comes to an all-in yield around 11% based on calculations. And the debt will be secured by slots, gates and routes across the world in the United States, Latin America, Asia and Europe. Investors didn't like this at all. Yesterday, American went down 6.17%. Delta went up 1%. Southwest went up 1%. Spirit went up 1.5%. So fair to say, people aren't very happy with what's happening. And if I was an investor, I wouldn't be either. Those are not interest rates anybody wants to see their companies have. So we're going to compare them to some of the other airlines soon. But I also do want to just point out that after the transaction, American will still have about $3 billion to $4 billion of unencumbered assets, excluding those in the Advantages Miles Reward Program. We will be speaking about this as well, according to deal documents. The company is expected to reach a daily cash burn of $40 million in June, down from $100 million in April. The approximate break-even load factors for each airline are as followed. As of right now, the most up-to-date information we have: American Airlines needs 78.9% of their seats full to break even. Delta 74.2%, United 75.6%, and Southwest 72.5%. Now keep those numbers in mind and let's have a look at a few points, okay? Regardless of total passenger count, at least for now, many major US airlines are taking active steps to spread out passengers and limit the capacity of aircraft. For example, Delta and Alaska have blocked the middle seats and capped passenger capacity within first class. Delta recently became the first major US airline to commit to onboard social distancing, at least through the end of the summer, as it limits capacity to 60% of economy seats, 50% of first class seats, and 75% of Delta One seats through September 30th. So essentially that means no profit, but it does mean less of a cash burn rate, which is always a good thing, and Delta don't have the worst balance sheet in the world. American and Spirit have given themselves a bit more flexibility and are blocking middle seats on most flights. Southwest family has an open seating policy but is reducing the maximum number of seats sold on flights, at least through July 31st, to ensure that no one has to sit in the middle seat. United has taken the approach of not promising a blocked middle seat, but says that it is adjusting our seat selection systems to avoid where possible seating customers next to each other except when traveling together. And that's the other thing, if you're a family, if you live with 2 other people, surely all 3 of you can sit next to each other on the plane. So that's something that'll have to be kept in mind. But essentially, everybody has already accepted that sometime between August and September, social distancing will have to be implemented in one way or another. This will mean less passengers flying, which will mean less money being made. But American has the worst balance sheet, they have the most debt, they have the highest break-even load factor. I mean, it's terrible. American Airlines expects to spend $8.4 billion on new planes. What do you mean? American Airlines has said that its estimated expenditures for aircraft purchase commitments between 2020 and 2024 would be around $8.4 billion. And look, regarding how it was going to raise the money, American Airlines says it expects to obtain a binding commitment for a loan under the CARES Act. So one minute they're taking all of this new debt on, okay, in hopes of diverging from its recent reliance on federal aid as the virus pandemic suppresses travel demand. But now they're hoping that the CARES Act are going to sort them out for these new planes. Now look, I understand this is an investment, okay, and what they want to do is they want to have more new planes, more fuel efficient planes, but it is coming at a very, very bad time where the company was already absolutely riddled with debt. I mean, to be taking on 12% bonds, something is seriously wrong. Now, in regards to what they're doing right now, they're putting 141 jets back in the air. United and Delta have also increased July flights. Clear to see why. There is an awful lot more passengers, you know, we've seen 600,000 days, lots of 500,000 days. Now, in comparison to what these numbers usually are, obviously, it's very poor. You know, even a 600,000 day when our average day was probably somewhere around 2.5 million. Let's just say, to make it really easy, 25% of what we used to. There was a stage we were seeing 90,000 days. Only 90,000 people flying. And again, that's compared to, let's just say, 2.5 million that we're used to. So the increase has been fantastic, and there's obviously a lot more people who are comfortable flying now and who want to fly again. So it's obviously great to start getting the jets back in the air. That is a good thing. Look, it's not just like there's a few planes going either, okay? American had parked as many as 435 aircraft, and they permanently retired more than 100 planes from its fleet. Its busiest days in July will have about 4,000 flights, up from 2,300 in June. That's a lot of flights. Delta will return aircraft to its fleet throughout summer as demand rises. Something I prefer, just, you know, put the planes in as needed, don't just throw them out there for the sake of it. And United is restoring 140 non-stop US and Canada routes in July. Domestic capacity will be 30% of what it was a year earlier, up 13% from June. That's bad. Of all the companies I've kept up to date with over the last few months, okay, of all the people who have taken on new debt, every single one of them, I have not seen this number. I have not seen 12% since Carnival, and that's just the truth of it. Not one other company. That is extremely worrying. Airlines are already a high risk, high reward sector. Why make them even riskier when the extra growth potential isn't even really there? I don't understand it. Is it just a follow the crowd thing? I mean, American Airlines is literally the most popular stock on Robinhood right now. Ford and General Electric, they don't count because they get given out to people as like sign up bonuses. So American Airlines is literally the most popular. Why? There are better airlines out there, okay? If you want the safest one, in my opinion, of the big US airlines, Southwest, they're my more defensive investment in an airline. If you want to, I think personally could offer some of the best returns out there, it's Delta Airlines, and that's why they're still one of the biggest positions in my portfolio. Nothing would make me invest in American Airlines unless they go bankrupt again, and when they decide to sell shares again, they're like 50 cents. If you didn't know, American Airlines did file Chapter 11 before November 29th, 2011, and they didn't emerge from that bankruptcy until December 8th, 2013. So I mean, if they go bankrupt and they come back with a really low share price, then I might buy them, but aside from that, no way. Now here's just one other thing I want to speak about, okay? Is American Airlines loyalty program worth $31.5 billion. So after finalizing terms for the $5.8 billion CARES Act payroll support grants 2 months ago, okay, American Airlines turned its attention to lining up a second secured loan under the same program. The $4.75 billion loan it is potentially eligible for represents the crux of the airline's plan to boost liquidity to more than $11 billion by the end of June. Last Friday, AAL told investors that it plans to pledge the A Advantage's loyalty program as collateral for the loan. Since when is a loyalty program collateral? The company said that third-party appraisals, okay, they must have slipped these third parties some nice money, have pegged the program's value at anywhere between $19.5 billion and an eye-popping $31.5 billion. American Airlines market cap is less than $10 billion. These estimates might seem to suggest that investors are undervaluing the company as a whole. However, it's more likely that the appraisals are wildly overvaluing the A Advantage program. I genuinely found this funny when I read it. Looks to me like they're clutching at straws. They're running out of collateral. They're running out of places to go and get more money to survive for a longer period of time. It looks to me like they're starting to get worried. It is certainly worth a meaningful amount. America's lucrative co-branded credit cards generate substantial cash flow. Furthermore, due to the lack of price competition, profit margins are much higher for the sales/issuance and redemption of miles compared to regular cash ticket purchases. So I'm not saying it's worthless or anything, I'm just saying that seems like a stretch. And the other thing is it's a part of American Airlines business, okay? As a theoretical standalone entity, the only asset belonging exclusive to A Advantage is data. A list of customers' name, contact information, flight history, and perhaps also purchase histories. They're trying to call that worth 30-something billion? It just seems to me like there's something going on behind the scenes that we're not quite aware of. Seeing that 12%, that's enough to put me off them even more. I didn't even like the look of them from the start, never mind now when I'm seeing these numbers. What it has shown me is that there are more worries than initially expected in regards to airlines. And I made a video a little while ago saying I'm selling my airline stocks, or a portion of them at the very least, and that still stands, and I may well trim positions even further. I just potentially see better places to put my money, in all honesty. We had a completely unjustified move to the upside, and now bad news is starting to come out again. It's scary. I'm just going to keep an eye on the market. I'm not going to sell anything probably this week whatsoever. I don't want to do anything based off emotion, but yeah, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on all airlines. So guys, that is it for today's video, and that is where I stand on American Airlines right now, and why of all of the major US airlines I really have no confidence in them. When you look at how much debt they already have, when you look at how much debt they owe in the next 5 years, when you look at the new debt they just had to take on at 12% rates, and when you look at their break-even load factor, if you want to get into airlines, fair enough. I understand it's a high risk, high return industry. I am in them. One of my biggest positions, as I said earlier on, is in Delta. If you go back and look at some of my earliest videos speaking about airlines, I have been of the opinion from the beginning that American Airlines was not a good investment. Again, it was because of all of the debt. And now that's just gotten even worse. So my opinion most definitely has not changed. But anyway guys, I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. Please do drop the video a like if you watched till the end. Drop me a comment down below as well. Those two things really help me out. And of course, subscribe if you're new around here. It means an awful lot to me, okay? Have an absolutely fantastic day. I will see you for tomorrow's video. Peace.